The starship descended smoothly, its engines humming softly as it approached the landing platform of the Galactic Academy. The massive structure loomed ahead, a sprawling campus built on a distant moon where students from across the galaxy came to learn about diplomacy, science, and cooperation among species. Among the new arrivals was Alex Carter, a 17-year-old human boy with messy brown hair and wide, curious eyes. He stood by the large viewport, his heart racing as he took in the sight of the academy for the first time. Alex had always dreamed of exploring space, but he never imagined he'd be chosen to attend such an elite institution. Back on Earth, he was just an ordinary kid who loved tinkering with gadgets and reading about alien cultures. But when he applied for the Academy's scholarship program, something about his application caught their attention. Maybe it was his creativity or his determination. Whatever it was, he earned his spot. And now here he was, stepping into a world far beyond anything he'd ever known. As the ship landed, Alex grabbed his backpack and joined the line of students, filing out onto the platform. The air smelled strange, a mix of metallic scents and something faintly floral. Around him, aliens of all shapes and sizes moved confidently, chatting and laughing in languages that sounded like music or clicks or low rumbles. Some had fur, others shimmering scales, and a few floated above the ground entirely. Alex felt small and out of place, but he reminded himself why he was here, to represent humanity and prove that humans could hold their own in the galaxy. A sudden nudge from behind made him stumble forward. Turning around, he saw a towering figure looming over him. It was Zarnok, a hulking alien with iridescent green scales that glinted under the artificial lights. His sharp claws flexed slightly as he sneered down at Alex. "Watch where you're going, human," Zarnok growled, his voice deep and guttural. Without waiting for a response, he pushed past Alex, nearly knocking him off his feet. Alex steadied himself, his face burning with embarrassment. He glanced around, hoping no one else had noticed, but several nearby students were already whispering and pointing. One of them, a girl with pale skin and dark braids, stepped forward. "Are you okay?" she asked, her tone kind. "Yeah, I'm fine," Alex muttered, brushing off his jacket. "I'm Mia Lopez," the girl introduced herself. "You're Alex, right?" "The human student?" He nodded, surprised she knew his name. "Yeah, that's me." "Don't worry about Zarnok," Mia said, lowering her voice. "He's like that with everyone. Just try to stay out of his way." Alex forced a smile, though he wasn't sure how easy that would be. As they walked toward the main building together, Mia explained more about the academy. Classes ranged from astrophysics to interstellar law, and students were expected to work closely with peers from other species. "It's not just about learning facts," she said. "It's about understanding each other. That's what makes this place special." Despite her reassuring words, Alex couldn't shake the feeling of unease growing inside him. Everything felt so foreign. The towering architecture, the strange smells, the constant hum of alien chatter. And then there was Zarnok, whose presence seemed to fill every room he entered. During orientation, Alex found himself seated near the back of the auditorium, trying to blend in while professors droned on about rules and expectations. But even from a distance, Zarnok's loud laughter and dismissive comments drew attention, making Alex cringe. Later that afternoon, Alex followed Mia to the dormitory wing, where they were assigned rooms. His was small but functional, with a bed, a desk, and a window that looked out onto the academy grounds. For a moment, he allowed himself to relax, staring at the unfamiliar landscape outside. Then there was a knock at the door. "Hey, Alex," Mia called cheerfully as she peeked inside. "Want to grab dinner? There's a cafeteria near the east wing." "Sure," Alex replied, grateful for the company. They headed down the corridor, passing other students along the way. Some greeted Mia warmly, while others barely glanced at Alex. At the cafeteria, the variety of food was overwhelming. Trays held everything from glowing fruits to steaming bowls of something that smelled like spices and smoke. Alex hesitated, unsure what to choose, until Mia pointed out a section labeled Earth Cuisine. After grabbing their meals, they sat together at a table near the corner. "So how are you feeling?" Mia asked between bites of her meal. "Honestly, A little overwhelmed, Alex admitted. Everyone seems so confident, like they know exactly what they're doing. Mia chuckled. Trust me, most of us don't. We're all faking it till we make it. Even Zarnok, believe it or not. Alex raised an eyebrow. Really? He looks pretty sure of himself. That's because he is, Mia said. But confidence doesn't mean competence. You'll see. Their conversation was interrupted when a shadow fell over the table. Looking up, Alex froze as Zarnok stood there, flanked by two of his friends. Well, well, Zarnok sneered, his eyes narrowing. If it isn't the little human, enjoying your first day? Alex clenched his fists under the table, fighting the urge to shrink back. Yeah, it's been great, he replied, trying to sound casual. Zarnok leaned closer, his breath hot and unpleasant. Just remember your place, human. This academy doesn't belong to you. With that, he turned and strode away, leaving Alex feeling smaller than ever. Mia placed a hand on his arm. Ignore him, she said firmly. He gets off on intimidating people, don't let him win. Alex nodded, though doubt lingered in his mind. Could he really survive here, surrounded by beings so different and sometimes hostile? He didn't have an answer yet, but one thing was certain. Giving up wasn't an option, not after coming this far. That night, as Alex lay in bed staring at the ceiling, he thought about home. He missed the familiar comforts of Earth, the smell of fresh grass, the sound of rain tapping against his window, the warmth of his family's laughter. But he also felt a spark of excitement deep within him. This was his chance to prove himself, to show the galaxy that humans weren't just passengers. They were contributors, thinkers, doers, and maybe, just maybe, he'd find a way to stand up to Zarnok too. The next morning, Alex woke up determined to focus on his classes and not let Zarnok's presence overshadow his experience at the academy. He dressed quickly, grabbed his bag, and headed to the dining hall for breakfast. Mia was already there, sipping a cup of something steaming and flipping through a data pad. She waved him over with a smile. Ready for your first real class? She asked as he sat down. I guess so, Alex replied, pouring himself a glass of juice. What's it about? Zero-gravity mechanics, Mia said. It's pretty cool. You get to work. In simulated environments where gravity doesn't exist, you'll see. Alex nodded, intrigued but nervous. The idea of floating in midair while trying to solve problems sounded tricky, especially since he'd never done anything like it before. Still, he reminded himself that this was why he was here, to learn new things and push his limits. When they arrived at the classroom, Alex was surprised to find it wasn't a traditional room at all. Instead, it was a large chamber filled with floating platforms, glowing panels, and strange tools hovering in place. Professor Kale, a tall alien with translucent skin and multiple eyes, greeted them warmly. Welcome, students, the professor began. Today we will be testing your ability to adapt to zero-gravity conditions. Work together in teams to complete the assigned tasks. Cooperation is key. Alex glanced around the room and noticed Zarnok, standing nearby, arms crossed and looking bored. When the teams were assigned, Alex ended up paired with Mia and two other students. Rin, a quiet alien with shimmering blue fur, and Tessa, a girl from a planet Alex didn't recognize. To his dismay, Zarnok was placed in the team directly across from theirs. As the simulation started, Alex felt his stomach lurch as the gravity faded away. Suddenly, he was weightless, drifting slightly off the ground. It took a moment to adjust, but soon he found himself grabbing onto a floating panel and working with his teammates to assemble a complex device. At first, everything went smoothly. Rin used his sensitive paws to manipulate tiny components, while Tessa directed the group with calm efficiency. Alex focused on connecting wires, his hands steady despite the unusual environment. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw Zarnok watching them. His team seemed to be struggling, their movements clumsy and uncoordinated. Without warning, one of Zarnok's teammates threw a tool toward Alex's group. It hit the device they were building, sending pieces scattering in every direction. Alex, gasped as the structure collapsed, leaving them scrambling to recover the parts. "What just happened?" Tessa demanded, glaring at Zarnok's team. Zarnok smirked, crossing his arms smugly. "Oops," he said, though his tone suggested it was anything but an accident. Professor Kale floated over, his expression stern. "Is there a problem here?" he asked. "No, sir," Zarnok replied innocently. "Just a little miscalculation." Alex clenched his jaw, frustration bubbling inside him. He wanted to argue, to point out what Zarnok had done, but he knew it wouldn't help. Instead, he forced himself to stay calm and focus on fixing the device. With Mia's help, they managed to reassemble it just in time to finish the task, though their final result was far from perfect. After the exercise, Professor Kyle gathered the students for feedback. "Some teams demonstrated excellent teamwork," he said, glancing approvingly at Zarnok's group. "Others struggled due to poor communication and lack of focus." His gaze lingered on Alex's team, and Alex felt his cheeks burn with shame. Later, that evening, Alex sat alone by the observation deck, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. He replayed the events of the day in his mind, feeling angry and defeated. Zarnok had ruined their project, and now Alex looked incompetent in front of everyone. He wondered if coming to the academy had been a mistake. "You shouldn't let him get to you," a voice said softly behind him. Turning, Alex saw Mia approaching. She carried 2 cups of tea and handed one to him. "Thanks," he muttered, taking a sip. The warm liquid helped soothe his nerves, but it didn't erase the frustration. "I know how you feel," Mia continued, sitting beside him. "Zarnok's been bullying people since the day he got here. He thinks being big and strong makes him better than everyone else." "But he's not," Alex said bitterly. "He's just a jerk who ruins things for fun." Mia nodded. "Exactly, and that's why you can't let him win." Alex frowned. "What do you mean? How am I supposed to stop someone like him? He's huge and me." Mia smiled. "You're smarter than him, Alex. You think differently. That's your advantage. Zarnok relies on brute force because he doesn't know any other way. But you have creativity and resourcefulness. Those are powerful weapons." Alex considered her words, letting them sink in. Maybe she was right. Maybe there was a way to outsmart Zarnok instead of confronting him head-on. But how? Over the next few days, Alex paid close attention to Zarnok's behavior. He watched how the bully strutted around campus, picking on weaker students and using intimidation to assert dominance. Alex noticed patterns, how Zarnok always targeted those who couldn't fight back, how he relied on fear to maintain control. It gave Alex an idea. One evening after dinner, Alex met Mia in the library. They spent hours researching strategies for dealing with bullies, drawing inspiration from historical examples across different cultures. One story caught Alex's attention, a tale about a small community that had defeated a much larger enemy by working together and staying united. It sparked something in him. "What if we team up against him?" Alex suggested. "Not physically, but strategically. We could show everyone that Zarnok isn't as untouchable as he seems." Mia's eyes lit up. "That could work. But we'll need help. We can't do this alone." Together, they reached out to other students who had suffered under Zarnok's bullying. There was Rin, still quiet but eager to contribute. Tessa, who had a knack for organizing people, and a few others who shared their resentment toward the bully. Slowly but surely, they formed a plan. Their chance came during the upcoming Interspecies Obstacle Challenge, a grueling test designed to evaluate teamwork and problem-solving skills. Teams would compete to navigate a series of physical and mental challenges, earning points based on speed and accuracy. Zarnok's team was favored to win, given his strength and aggression. But Alex and his friends had a different goal in mind. For weeks, they practiced relentlessly, honing their coordination and communication. Alex studied the layout of the course, memorizing each section and brainstorming creative solutions to potential problems. Mia helped design gadgets that could give them an edge, while Rin tested their durability. Tessa kept everyone motivated, reminding them why they were doing this. On the day of the challenge, the entire academy gathered to watch. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement as teams lined up at the starting point. Zarnok's team exuded confidence, their leader flexing, his claws dramatically for the crowd. Alex's team stood quietly, exchanging determined glances. When the race began, Zarnok's team surged ahead, relying on sheer power to blast through obstacles. They moved quickly, leaving destruction in their wake. Meanwhile, Alex's team worked, methodically, supporting each other and solving puzzles with precision. At one point, Zarnok tried to sabotage their progress by knocking over a barrier, but Alex anticipated the move and countered it calmly. "You can't break us," Alex called out, his voice steady. "We're stronger together." Zarnok growled, clearly frustrated, but there was nothing he could do. By the time they reached the final stretch, Alex's team was neck and neck with Zarnok's. In the end, it came down to a single puzzle that required delicate manipulation of energy fields, a task perfectly suited to Alex's careful hands. As Alex completed the puzzle, triggering the finish line, cheers erupted from the crowd. His team crossed first, earning thunderous applause. Even Professor Kale nodded approvingly, acknowledging their ingenuity and teamwork. Zarnok stood frozen, his face a mask of disbelief. For the first time, he looked unsure of himself. And in that moment, Alex realized they had won, not just the race, but something far more important. The victory in the interspecies obstacle challenge left Alex feeling a mix of pride and relief. For the first time since arriving at the Galactic Academy, he felt like he truly belonged. His team had proven that strength wasn't just about muscles or size, it was about working together, thinking creatively and staying calm under pressure. But despite their success, Alex couldn't shake the image of Zarnok standing frozen at the finish line, his glowing green scales dimmed by humiliation. That evening, as the academy buzzed with excitement over the competition, Alex found himself replaying the events in his mind. He sat alone in the library, staring at a data pad without really reading it. Mia eventually joined him, sliding into the chair across the table. "You did great today," she said, breaking the silence. "Thanks," Alex replied, though his tone was distant. "But I can't stop thinking about Zarnok." Mia tilted her head, curious. "What about him?" "I don't know," Alex admitted. "I mean, we beat him fair and square, everyone saw it, but I feel like there's more to it, like maybe this isn't over." Mia frowned slightly. "You're not planning on picking a fight with him, are you?" "No, nothing like that," Alex said quickly. "It's just, I keep wondering why he acts the way he does. Why is he so angry all the time? There has to be something behind it." Mia sighed, leaning back in her chair. "Maybe. Or maybe he's just a bully who enjoys pushing people around." "Maybe," Alex agreed. "But what if it's more than that? What if he's lashing out because he's scared or insecure or, I don't know, something else?" Mia studied him for a moment, then smiled faintly. "You're too nice for your own good, you know that?" Alex shrugged. "I'm just saying, if someone treated me the way Zarnok treats others, I'd want someone to try to understand me instead of just writing me off." Mia didn't respond right away. Instead, she tapped her fingers thoughtfully against the table. Finally, she said, "If you're serious about this, you'll need to be careful. Zarnok doesn't take kindness well. He might see it as weakness." "I know," Alex said, "but I have to try. Otherwise, I'll always wonder if I could have made a difference." The next day, Alex decided to approach Zarnok directly. It wasn't an easy decision. He knew the risk of angering the hulking alien, but he couldn't let the idea go. After classes ended, he waited near the entrance to the gymnasium, where Zarnok often trained. Sure enough, the alien emerged after a workout, sweat glistening on his iridescent scales. For a moment, Alex hesitated. Zarnok looked even bigger up close, his sharp claws flexing as he stretched his arms. Taking a deep breath, Alex stepped forward. "Hey, Zarnok," he said, keeping his voice steady. Zarnok turned, his glowing eyes narrowing as he recognized Alex. "What do you want, human?" he growled. "I wanted to talk," Alex replied, meeting his gaze as best he could. "About yesterday." Zarnok snorted. "What's there to talk about? Your team won. Big deal. It's not about winning, Alex said carefully. It's about how you act. You don't have to be like this, you know. Pushing people around, making them afraid of you, it doesn't make you strong, it just makes you lonely. Zarnok's expression darkened. For a moment, Alex thought the alien might lash out, but instead Zarnok took a step closer, lowering his voice. You think you understand me, human? You think you know anything about my life? No, Alex admitted. I don't. But I know what it's like to feel small, to feel like no one believes in you. And I know using fear to make yourself feel big doesn't work forever. Zarnok stared at him, his glowing eyes flickering with emotion. Anger, confusion, and something else, something Alex couldn't quite identify, flashed across his face. Then without another word, Zarnok turned and walked away, leaving Alex standing there. Over the next few days, Zarnok seemed quieter than usual. He still swaggered through the halls and sneered at anyone who crossed his path. But there was a subtle shift in his behavior. He didn't sabotage other students' projects or pick fights as often. Some of the tension in the air seemed to ease, though no one dared mention it aloud. Alex noticed these changes but didn't bring it up. Instead, he focused on his studies and spent more time with Mia and the rest of his friends. They were preparing for another group assignment, a collaborative project that required designing a sustainable habitat for colonizing uninhabited planets. Teams would present their designs to a panel of professors, and the winning concept would earn extra credit. When the teams were assigned, Alex was relieved to find himself grouped with Mia, Rin, and Tessa again. This time, however, they also had an unexpected addition: Zarnok. The alien looked just as surprised as everyone else when the professor announced the pairings. This should be interesting, Mia whispered to Alex as they gathered around a table to brainstorm ideas. Yeah, Alex muttered, glancing nervously at Zarnok. The alien sat silently, arms crossed, avoiding eye contact with the group. At first, the dynamic was awkward. Zarnok refused to contribute, sitting stiffly while the others discussed potential solutions. But as the conversation progressed, Alex noticed something surprising. Zarnok listened. His glowing eyes followed each speaker, intently, and though he didn't speak, his body language suggested he was paying attention. Eventually, Alex decided to take a chance. Zarnok, he said, addressing the alien directly. Do you have any ideas? We could use your input. Zarnok blinked, clearly caught off guard. Why would you care what I think? Because you're part of this team, Alex replied simply. And we're stronger when everyone contributes. For a long moment, Zarnok said nothing. Then slowly he leaned forward. Fine, he muttered. Here's what I think. To everyone's surprise, Zarnok's suggestion was insightful. He proposed using durable materials native to harsh environments, which would reduce the need for transporting resources from Earth. The idea sparked further discussion, and soon the entire group was building on his concept. As the days passed, Zarnok began participating more actively. He still wasn't friendly. His tone remained gruff and he rarely smiled, but he stopped isolating himself and started engaging with the group. By the time they presented their design to the panel, they had created something truly impressive. A modular habitat capable of adapting to various climates and terrains. When the results were announced, Alex's team earned second place. Not quite a win, but still a remarkable achievement. As the group celebrated quietly afterward, Alex caught Zarnok watching him. Their eyes met briefly, and for the first time there was no hostility in Zarnok's gaze. Just a flicker of acknowledgement. Though Zarnok never openly thanked Alex for reaching out, the change in his behavior spoke volumes. He stopped bullying other students and even began helping those who struggled with physical tasks, using his strength for good rather than intimidation. It wasn't a complete transformation, but it was progress. For Alex, the experience reinforced what he already believed, that understanding and empathy could bridge even the widest gaps. He didn't expect to become friends with Zarnok, nor did he think the alien would ever fully change. But he had planted a seed, and that was enough. As the semester continued, Alex grew more confident in his abilities and more comfortable in his role at the academy. He still faced challenges, difficult assignments, confusing customs, and moments of self-doubt, but he faced them head-on, knowing he wasn't alone. With friends like Mia, Rin, and Tessa by his side, and even Zarnok showing glimpses of growth, Alex felt ready to tackle whatever the galaxy threw his way. One evening, as he stood on the observation deck gazing at the stars, Alex reflected on how far he'd come. From a nervous teenager stepping onto an alien campus to someone who had earned respect and forged connections, he realized he was exactly where he was meant to be. The journey ahead would be long and uncertain, but for the first time, Alex felt prepared to embrace it. As the semester progressed, Alex noticed subtle but significant changes in Zarnok's behavior. The alien no longer strutted around campus with the same arrogance or sought to intimidate others at every opportunity. Instead, he seemed quieter, more reserved, and occasionally even helpful. Once, when a smaller student struggled to carry a heavy piece of equipment during a lab exercise, Zarnok stepped in without being asked, lifting it effortlessly and setting it down where it was needed. At you. First, Alex thought it might be a fluke, a rare moment of kindness that wouldn't last. But as time went on, these moments became more frequent. Zarnok still wasn't friendly by any stretch of the imagination. His gruff demeanor remained unchanged, and he rarely smiled. Yet there was something different about him now. He had stopped using fear as a weapon, and while he kept mostly to himself, he no longer made others feel small just to assert his dominance. Despite this apparent progress, Alex knew better than to let his guard down completely. Zarnok was unpredictable, and years of bullying didn't vanish overnight. Still, Alex couldn't help feeling a sense of satisfaction, knowing that their teamwork during the Habitat project had planted a seed of change within the alien. It reminded him of what Mia had said weeks earlier. Sometimes simply showing someone they're capable of more is enough to spark transformation. One afternoon, after a particularly challenging physics lecture, Professor Kale approached Alex and Mia as they were leaving the classroom. "I'd like to speak with you both," he said, gesturing for them to follow him to his office. Curious but slightly apprehensive, Alex exchanged a glance with Mia before following the professor. They entered his office, which was cluttered with glowing holograms, strange artifacts, and shelves lined with books written in languages neither of them recognized. Professor Kale motioned for them to sit. "I've been observing your work closely," he began, folding his hands on the desk. "You've shown remarkable growth over the past few months, not just academically, but socially as well." Alex blinked, surprised. "Thank you, sir," he said cautiously, "but I don't think we've done anything special." "On the contrary," Professor Kale replied, "your ability to unite classmates, resolve conflicts, and demonstrate leadership has not gone unnoticed. Take the interspecies obstacle challenge, for example. You didn't just win. You inspired others to believe in themselves. And then there's Zarnok." The mention of Zarnok's name made Alex stiffen slightly. "What about him?" he asked carefully. "His recent behavior has improved significantly," the professor continued. "While I can't say for certain what caused this shift, it seems clear that your actions played a role. Few students have the courage to confront someone like Zarnok, let alone extend a hand of understanding." Mia glanced at Alex, her expression unreadable. Alex felt a mix of pride and unease. He hadn't expected anyone to notice his efforts or attribute Zarnok's changes to them. "We just did what we thought was right," he said finally. "Professor." Kale nodded approvingly. "That's precisely why I wanted to speak with you. There's an upcoming intergalactic conference hosted by the Academy, and several students will be selected to represent our institution. I'd like you both to participate." Alex's eyes widened. "Us? Represent the Academy?" "Yes," the professor confirmed. "It's a prestigious honor, and one I believe you're ready for. The conference focuses on fostering cooperation among species, and your experiences here make you ideal candidates." Mia grinned, clearly thrilled by the news. "Thank you, Professor. We won't disappoint you." We'll do our best, Alex added, though his mind was already racing with questions. What would the conference involve? Who else would be attending? And most importantly, how could he possibly live up to such high expectations? Preparations for the conference consumed the next several weeks. Alongside other selected students, Alex and Mia attended workshops designed to teach diplomacy, negotiation skills, and cultural sensitivity. They practiced delivering speeches, resolving hypothetical disputes, and working collaboratively with representatives from various species. It was intense but rewarding, and Alex found himself growing more confident with each passing day. Zarnok, surprisingly, was also chosen to attend the conference. When Alex learned this, he felt a pang of nervousness, but also curiosity. Had Zarnok earned his spot through genuine effort, or was it simply because of his physical prowess? Either way, Alex resolved to keep an open mind. The day of the conference arrived, and the entire delegation boarded a sleek starship bound for a neutral space station orbiting a distant star. As they disembarked, Alex marveled at the sight before him. Delegates from dozens of planets filled the grand hall, their appearances wildly diverse yet united by a shared purpose. Some wore elaborate robes adorned with shimmering patterns, while others sported sleek uniforms or natural armor. The air buzzed with excitement as conversations unfolded in countless languages, aided by translation devices. During the opening ceremony, Alex listened intently as leaders from across the galaxy spoke about the importance of unity and mutual respect. One speaker, a diminutive alien with translucent wings, delivered a powerful message that resonated deeply with him. Strength lies not in domination, but in connection. Only by understanding one another can we hope to thrive together. Later, that evening, the delegates gathered for a networking event. Alex and Mia mingled with attendees, exchanging ideas and learning about different cultures. At one point, Alex spotted Zarnok standing near the edge of the room, looking out of place among the crowd. Summoning his courage, Alex walked over. "How's it going?" he asked casually. Zarnok turned, surprise flickering across his face. "Why are you talking to me?" "Just checking in," Alex replied with a shrug. "This must be overwhelming for you." Zarnok hesitated, then sighed. "It is. Everyone here, they're so different. I don't know how to act around them." "You're doing fine," Alex said earnestly. "Just remember, you don't have to prove anything. Be yourself, and people will see your value." Zarnok studied him for a long moment, then gave a small nod. "Thanks," he muttered, almost too quietly to hear. Over the course of the conference, Alex witnessed moments of breakthrough and collaboration. Species that had once viewed each other with suspicion found common ground, forging partnerships and exchanging knowledge. Even Zarnok began to come out of his shell, engaging in discussions and contributing ideas. By the final day, the atmosphere was electric, with hope and possibility. As the closing remarks concluded, Alex stood alongside Mia, Zarnok, and the rest of the delegation, gazing out at the vast expanse of stars beyond the station's windows. For the first time, he truly understood the weight of their mission and the potential they all held to shape the future of the galaxy. Though challenges undoubtedly lay ahead, Alex felt ready to face them. He had proven himself not just as a student, but as a leader, a problem solver, and a bridge builder. And perhaps in some small way, he had helped Zarnok find a new path forward as well. Together, they had taken the first steps toward a brighter, more connected universe. And that, Alex realized, was worth everything. The weeks following the intergalactic conference were a whirlwind of activity for Alex and his classmates. The experience had left a lasting impression on everyone, but none more so than Zarnok. Though he still wasn't the most talkative or outgoing member of the group, his presence had shifted in subtle ways. He no longer dominated conversations with aggression or sought to intimidate others. Instead, he listened more, observed quietly, and occasionally offered thoughtful insights. When prompted, Alex noticed these changes during their daily interactions at the academy. Once, during a team exercise in xenobiology class, Zarnock surprised everyone by volunteering to handle a delicate task that required precision and patience. His clawed hands, which had once been used to destroy, now moved with surprising care as he adjusted a fragile piece of equipment. When the task was completed successfully, Alex caught himself smiling, not just because they'd succeeded, but because it felt like another small victory for Zarnock. Mia nudged him playfully as they left the lab. "Looks like someone's finally finding their place," she whispered, glancing back at Zarnock. "Yeah," Alex replied, nodding. "It's good to see." As the semester drew to a close, the Academy prepared for its annual Cultural Exchange Festival, a celebration of diversity where students showcased traditions, foods, and art from their home planets. For Alex, it was an opportunity to share a piece of Earth with his classmates. He spent hours working on a display featuring photographs of Earth's landscapes, artifacts like handmade pottery, and even a recording of classical music played on a violin. Mia helped him set everything up, offering suggestions and encouragement along the way. On the day of the festival, the campus transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and scents. Booths lined the pathways, each one representing a different world. Students wandered between them, sampling exotic dishes, trying on traditional clothing, and learning about customs vastly different from their own. Alex stood proudly beside his booth, answering questions and sharing stories about life on Earth. At one point, he spotted Zarnock lingering nearby, staring curiously at a display of glowing crystals from a distant planet. Alex hesitated, then decided to approach him. "Hey," he said, keeping his tone casual. "What do you think?" Zarnock turned, his expression unreadable. "It's interesting," he admitted after a moment. "I've never seen anything like it. Earth has some cool stuff, too," Alex said, gesturing toward his booth. "Want to check it out?" To his surprise, Zarnock nodded and followed him over. As Alex explained the significance of his display, the meaning behind the photographs, the craftsmanship of the pottery, the emotion conveyed through the music, he saw something unexpected in Zarnock's eyes. Curiosity. For the first time, the alien seemed genuinely interested in understanding another culture. "This is what your planet looks like?" Zarnock asked, pointing to a photograph of a lush forest bathed in golden sunlight. "Yeah," Alex replied, smiling. "That's Earth. It's not perfect, but it's home." "It's beautiful," Zarnock said softly, almost to himself. Then, clearing his throat, he added, "Thanks for showing me." "You're welcome," Alex said, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. Later that evening, as the festival wound down, Alex found himself reflecting on how much had changed since his arrival at the Academy. Back then, he had been unsure of himself, intimidated by the vastness of the galaxy and the challenges ahead. Now he felt grounded, not just in his abilities, but in the connections he'd forged with others. Mia, Rin, Tessa, and even Zarnock had become part of his journey, each contributing in their own way to his growth. The next morning, Professor Kale called Alex into his office. The professor greeted him warmly, motioning for him to sit. "I wanted to congratulate you on a successful semester," he began. "You've grown immensely during your time here, both personally and academically." "Thank you, sir," Alex said, feeling a swell of pride. "It hasn't always been easy, but I've learned so much." Professor Kale nodded approvingly. "That's evident. Your ability to adapt, collaborate, and lead has set an example for others, and your influence extends beyond yourself. You've inspired those around you to strive for better." Alex thought of Zarnock and the gradual transformation he'd witnessed. "I didn't do it alone," he said humbly. "My friends helped me every step of the way." "True leadership is recognizing the value of teamwork," the professor replied. "Which brings me to my next point. There's a special initiative launching next year, a program designed to send students to underserved regions of the galaxy to promote education and cooperation. I'd like you to consider applying." Alex's heart raced. "Me? Are you sure?" "I wouldn't suggest it if I didn't believe you were ready," Professor Kale said firmly. "Think about it. You have until the end of the break to decide. Over the holidays, Alex returned to Earth, eager to spend time with his family and recharge before making such a big decision. Sitting on the porch one evening, gazing at the stars, he replayed the events of the past months in his mind. From standing up to Zarnok to representing the Academy at the Intergalactic Conference, he had faced challenges he never imagined possible. Each experience had taught him something new, not just about the galaxy, but about himself. When he shared Professor Kale's offer with his parents, they listened intently, their faces lighting up with pride. "This is your chance to make a difference," his mother said gently, "but it's also a big responsibility. Only you can decide if you're ready." His father nodded. "Whatever you choose, we'll support you. Just remember why you started this journey, to show the galaxy what humans are capable of." By the time Alex returned to the Academy, he knew what he had to do. Submitting his application for the initiative felt like taking another leap into the unknown, but he welcomed the challenge. If there was one thing he'd learned, it was that growth came from stepping outside your comfort zone. In the final weeks of the semester, Alex focused on tying up loose ends and saying goodbye to those who had shaped his time at the Academy. He thanked Mia for her friendship and guidance, promised to stay in touch with Rin and Tessa, and even exchanged a few words with Zarnok before departing. "I guess this is it," Alex said, standing awkwardly near the shuttle bay. Zarnok crossed, his arms, his usual stoic expression softening slightly. "Good luck out there," he said gruffly. "Don't mess it up." Alex chuckled. "You too, Zarnok. Keep doing what you're doing. You're stronger than you think." For a brief moment, Zarnok's lips twitched upward in what might have been the faintest hint of a smile. Then, without another word, he turned and walked away. As the shuttle lifted off, carrying Alex toward his next adventure, he pressed his forehead against the window and watched the Academy shrink into the distance. He didn't know exactly what lay ahead, but he felt ready to face it. The galaxy was vast and full of mysteries, but Alex Carter, human student leader, was determined to leave his mark. Somewhere out there, among the stars, was a future waiting to be built. And Alex knew deep down that he was exactly where he belonged.